Alright, so hello, my name is Willow Whiting, and I have Teresa Canyon today for interview. What do you see as a role of the visual arts in society today, particularly in your profession?
Okay. Visual arts have always been a way to communicate ideas, and I don't think that's really changed. Throughout a lot of history, visual expression was often limited to political and religious works, whereas today we express social ideas more than anything else. Imagery for better treatment of fellow man or symbols for causes aren't just limited to cartoons and protest signs. Now, a lot of people might not consider Photoshop and memes to be art, but a visual image that stimulates a reaction from a viewer and can communicate a standard concept is the same thing that art has been doing for eons.
I totally agree with you on that one. New communications, and I got another question. New communications and media technologies make imagery almost instantly available. Do you believe that this is having a positive or negative influence on your field industry? Provide examples, please.
Um, Looking back to drastic changes in art with the rise of the Greco-Roman art, and then the Renaissance, and then the 20th century, pushing through with Cubism, Dadaism, minimalism, and all the other isms. I think there will always be some who just like a new style or material. Um, Telegraph, airlines, telephone, television, the internet at large, and now things like Skype or allow artists to talk to each other on an intellectual level more quickly. The communication doesn't have to be as passive as maybe in your life seeing works of another serious artist or possibly a reproduction of poor quality. A change in style and format happens when artists working at all skill levels have access to each other. Something like DeviantArt will show you the full range of what people are making and thinking about. A negative influence may be that the public expects art to be cheap and doesn't want to pay artists fair wages for the work um, because we have mass production abilities.
Well,
Negative might be that you have to wade through a lot of poor and mediocre art, some of which might be yours, to see something really mind altering.
that's where we found each other, was DeviantArt.
Yeah,
Being a writer, and me being a writer, and you being a you know what I mean.
yeah. I write some text too, but
What?
predominantly visual
So the
arts.
next question: what popular images do you see that are frequently repeated throughout your industry? Which is, yeah.
Yeah, well, memes, obviously. When a meme takes off, there's an explosion, and then the meme-related art from dolls to paintings and T-shirts and like stained glass and stuff. Fan art is the modern answer to the religious art that dominated earlier history. More so these days, there's a huge anime influence, even on non-anime style art. Video games are changing the focus of what people are working on and the style in which they work. More art is being done digitally with the tablets and such. And the texture of how the art looks is different with a computer, which also speaks to the change in technology from the previous question. Computer rendered images often lack texture that creating art from traditional medias can have. People that are drawing digitally or photoshopping often have works where part of the image has a discordant texture to the rest of it. It interrupts the flow of energy and the movement of your eye around the piece. Like basically it interrupts the suspension of disbelief. Like seriously, it's annoying. I don't like that.
Uh, it's see, to me, memes. I don't like memes for some reason. It just drives me up the wall. I think because a lot of the stuff that drives me up the wall. But that's just me. But I do
Yeah, I
agree
think
with a lot of what you're saying. A
I think
lot of
they're
the stuff
funny.
a lot of history today, art history is going from meme from religious art to political art, and then it went to this now, which is mostly uh, video games and stuff
Secular.
like that.
Yeah, it's
Video
like
games
secular
and whatever
entertainment.
you can buy, whatever a person can buy, can get it. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So the next question: who is one of your favorite visual artists, and or what is your favorite style of visual art?
Okay. My favorite style of art is psychedelic. I like large explosion of color and complex patterns. I like pop art and brain teasers, and I feel like they belong in that category. Like I also like mod clothes from the '60s. I like steampunk related concepts, both with the fashion, like the constructed items, like the little guns and machines and stuff that they make, and drawings. Um, you can't really beat a good dirigible, seriously. I also like dark, intense things like gothic and sorrow and blackness, kind of like the visual answer to the literature of Poe, maybe. I like Frida Kahlo. I like Salvador Dali. I like director Julie Taymor and Lady Gaga with the House of Gaga as visual artists. They've all been creative, unexpected, and intense. The ladies while using intense color, and then Dali and Taymor for bending reality and thinking outside the box.
That's the reason why I like a lot of my my indie rocks. Like I hear sirens and stuff like that because they're out there. Nobody's ever really heard them, and they sound really good. So I have to agree
Yeah,
with a lot of what you're saying. Visual artists and stuff like that. Because a lot of the writers today, a lot of creative writing today, for on my perspective, is really bad because a lot of it's been just like thrown together. A lot of books
yeah, I
lately.
read some of it.
It's like they gotta write 10,000 books for the teenagers, and it's like that's not real writing, you know.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, I do enjoy them, but I'd rather read Stephen King over anything else. Stephen King or Dean
I
Koontz
like
over
Clive
anything.
Barker.
Huh?
I, I like Clive Barker.
He's
He's
good
a
too.
brilliant.
All right. So the next question: how has your knowledge of famous artworks influenced your creative process?
Well, I'm personally eternally grateful for my art history classes in college, and for the 3 years that I worked in the Slide Library, cleaning and looking at paintings and architecture, and stuff like that from thousands of years of human history. It gives an idea of what's been done and what can be done. Mimicking that which came before is the best way to learn foundation skills. To feel around in the dark, as it were. To find your own personal style. Famous art that's happening now is harder to pinpoint
I lost you.
because there are pockets of fame all over the internet and YouTube. Like DeviantArt, Twitter. They're different than movies and TVs and the museum circuit. I can't think of any massively famous artists like really after Andy Warhol. I have a rant about the artist community, but that's like an entire side issue. Like every piece of media that I've come in contact with has shaped my creative flow. Like listening to classic rock, prog rock, pop, records, and then MTV when I was little. Totally shaped the way that I think in terms of psychedelic imagery and in fueling everything with music. As soon as you associate images with music, or in music videos, there's no turning back. The lyrics or the story or the fashion in the music videos inspire, fan art, new ideas, or more art. If I see something exciting enough, I want to make my own fashion design, or I might want to draw something that looks like a yellow loris. Um, I could make, any one of hundreds of remixes of the Mona Lisa, photoshopped or hand drawn. Famous artworks are almost like a seed for some fractal thing to start spinning away from them. Once dropped into the water, it kind of takes off on its own. Like waves coming out from a stone.
Oh yeah. A lot of it I agree with you. Because a lot of what I read influenced me. Like I read Christopher Pike and Dean Koontz, Stephen King, and R.L. Stein when I was growing up, and a lot of that is suspense, and that's what I like writing is suspense. So that's where you see a lot of mine is about a suspense and stuff like that. And I appreciate it. Thank you for doing this interview.
Yeah, like even when I
Disconnected.
write stuff, I try it comes out kind of psychedelic. So kind of anything that you're absorbing comes out no matter what medium you're using. You know, you could be writing a novel or a poem or a sign, a graffiti on the side of the street, and it'll come out like in the same kind of idea or style as if you were drawing a picture because that's what that's how you interpret it.